So today we're going to be talking about how the Democratic Party is more than likely going to be nominating Kamala Harris as their candidate for the 2024 presidential election. Of course, last week we talked about how Joe Biden had dropped out of the presidential race and how he is no longer the Democratic nominee for their party. In that video, I didn't declare an official candidate, but now I think it's more safe to say that she will be the candidate for that party. So we can go ahead and start talking about it now and see what this election may look like as of today. I'm pretty sure she has all the delegates that she needs to be the official nominee. We just need the actual, official nomination. She's been endorsed by, of course, the president and a ton of other members of the Democratic Party. So it's almost impossible for her not to be the nominee at this point. So it's going to be a Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump election in November. So before we go any further into this video, if you do enjoy it and you find it informative, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. All the support is greatly appreciated. It also lets me know that you guys want to see more political videos just like this in the future as we get closer to the election. I might also start doing Senate races and House races as well. Anyway, let's start talking about polls. Now, polling still, I wouldn't say is up to date just yet because, she isn't still officially the nominee. Once she is the official nominee, all the polls will stop polling everyone else. As you can see here, these polls are with Shapiro, with Whitmer. They're not the candidate or the nominee. So once she becomes the official nominee, we can expect to see more accurate and clear polls. Anyway, I do want to start off by looking at the different states and what their polls are saying. Now, once again, I do want to clarify that we still need to let this kind of cook up a little bit more. But as of now in Pennsylvania, it has become very close. In fact, it's even. I would say that once she picks her vice president candidate, which I think she'll probably maybe pick up Shapiro, and Josh Shapiro, he is the governor of Pennsylvania. Which is the smart thing to do because you need to win Pennsylvania if you want to win this election, and that goes for both parties. Pennsylvania is a swing state and also has 20 electoral ballots. If she picks Josh Shapiro as her candidate, it's like, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's more than likely that she'll win Pennsylvania, and they absolutely need that state. As of now, she's pretty neck and neck with Trump in this state, and it was not that way with Biden, as you can see here. Trump was winning by +5 almost in every poll, but different candidate. People feel differently about her compared to the current president. And really what I want to do here is just start to break down these different swing states. Let's go ahead and take a look at Arizona. Looks like they still have Arizona as going to Trump. I don't really disagree with that too much. And then now Nevada, they have Trump +2, which is a lot closer than it used to be. Over in New Hampshire, now this is interesting. I didn't really think that she would be leading in New Hampshire according to the polls this much, but apparently New Hampshire has swung a lot since the candidate change. Now, once again, these polls, you may not be able to trust them right away because they're so fresh and so new. I would still want to wait maybe another month for this polling to, start looking at them and analyzing them a little bit more. I personally won't be, basing my upcoming map off of this too much. And by the way, if this is your first political video of mine, I always do my prediction for the election at the end of the video. It always is changing, and this one will change as well. Anyway, she's leading pretty large in New Hampshire, and we'll look at Georgia too, and maybe North Carolina. Although I do think that North Carolina is probably a little too far gone to the right at this point, so I'm not sure if I would consider them a swing state at all. Where is it? Let's take a look. Yeah, +3, which is a little closer than I thought it would be. And then finally Georgia, as expected, they are still going pretty far to the right. It looks like it's gotten even further apart, which is quite interesting. Anyway, now let's go ahead and take a look at my presidential map prediction. So I previously had Republicans winning the election 276 to 262, and let's go ahead and reset this map and go through it once again. All right, so we'll start with our safe states once again. I have also been reading the comments on these videos very sparsely because I don't like to look at political comments, but we'll start with the right. Our safe states for them include South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, not Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana. Not Montana. Montana's an interesting one. They have a Democratic senator, but I think presidentially they are a safe state. Oh yeah, definitely. Although these were all the way back in June. I'll leave them as a safe state, same with Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah. I believe those are all of the safe states. Nope, West Virginia. I might be missing one. Don't yell at me for it. I'll fix it later. Now for our safe blue states, that is the entire West Coast. That is Hawaii. That is Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. Actually, no, not New Jersey. New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut and Rhode Island, as well as Washington, D.C. These are your safe blue states. Unlikely to change at all. So, base right off the bat, it's 144 to 111. You can see at the top of your screen. I don't really need to go into too much detail with this because I've explained this in past videos. And now for our likely states, we have Iowa, Ohio, Alaska, and I think that's it. Once again, if I miss something, I'll go back to it, just like how I missed Oklahoma. They are always a safe state. Now for your likely Democratic states, that's Colorado and New Mexico. I actually want to check on Minnesota because I did see someone say that Minnesota was a little close. No, +10. As of now. I actually think that puts them in the safe category, although I could be completely wrong. Then you have Illinois, and for the districts of Maine and Nebraska, honestly, I don't really know which is which. But for Maine, we'll give them 3 electoral votes, and for Nebraska, we'll give them 1 in that 1 district. The rest of it will be Republican. I'm just not too sure how it's divided up. I know what the usual electoral vote count is. But I think that does it for our likely states in total. And before anyone yells at me, let's also take a quick look at Texas and Florida. Looks like we have +8. Yeah, that's more than likely a likely state. Texas, we have +9. That was back in June though. I'll throw Texas in lean, and then I'll throw Florida into likely. But before we go any further, as of now, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at 192 to 179. This is with our likely and safe states. So now it's time for the lean states. Like I said, Texas will be one of them, as well as Georgia, and I feel like North Carolina would be. They're definitely not tilt, so I'll throw them into the lean category. And now we are left with our battleground states. These are the most important states in this upcoming election. Also New Jersey, I think they're likely lean Democrats, so there we go with that. But as for the rest of these states, these are going to be our battleground states in this election. These other states are unlikely to swap back and forth. You can make maybe an argument with Georgia and North Carolina, although I think they've probably shifted right a little bit more than is salvageable for the Democratic Party. So there might not be much of a focus on them compared to these other battleground states. But before we get to our tilts, we have to finish off our leans. Virginia leaning left, and I'm hesitant to put New Hampshire as a lean state because I don't think it's going to be as much of a victory for Democrats as the polls are showing right now. Once again, polls, you can't really trust them too much right now because of how fresh the playing field has become. I'll throw them in the lean. This will probably change. You know, this isn't my final prediction. There's still 3 months until the election, so I'll keep making these videos, updating you guys with my predictions. So these are your key battleground states. The Virginia and New Hampshire are battleground states, but these ones are more important. You want to win these states. Starting with our tilts, Nevada tilting to the right, as well as Arizona. And you can see how close this election is just with these two going to the right. 226 to 268, they only need 2 more electoral votes to win. However, if Kamala Harris does pick Shapiro as her vice president candidate, which I think would be pretty smart, we can see Pennsylvania going back to the left. And technically they're already in the left because of the last election when they went left, but the current consensus right now is that the Rust Belt will flip red. I don't necessarily agree with that completely, but that is just kind of the common consensus amongst pollers as of right now. Once again, they still need to refresh and update now that there's a new nominee. But Michigan and Wisconsin, those are going to be our 2 very close states. On election night, you want to watch the Rust Belt because Arizona and Nevada are more than likely going to flip right. I see a world where, you know, Nevada might be salvageable for the Democratic Party. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to focus too much on it because at the end of the day, it's only 6 electoral votes compared to the Rust Belt, which has a combined total of 44 electoral votes. So starting off with Wisconsin, because I have them going to the left here. In the previous video, I think I had them going right. Based off of current trends in polling, it looks to be going up for the Democratic Party in this state. Before though, when Biden was still the nominee, the whole Rust Belt was red. But now things are shifting a little bit. I'm going to say this for a final time. You can't fully trust polls just yet. But we also need to remember that the Democrats barely won these 3 states. These states were only won by a couple tens of thousands of votes, which is not very much in the grand scheme of things. But if you currently look at polling right now, they do currently have the Republicans winning there. Hey y'all, it's Editing Aid is Pro here. I just want to say that right after I finished recording this video, I saw a new poll come out in Michigan that had Kamala Harris winning by +10. Now I know that kind of sounds insane, and I agree, it does sound insane. But this is going with the theme of what I've been saying in the video, is that we cannot trust these polls just yet as they need time to refresh. This is like one of the first refreshed polls, and it has her winning the state. Anyway, back to the video. I don't think I disagree with that. Actually, I've been thinking about it for a couple of minutes now. I'm not sure about Michigan. Michigan might be the state that completely decides this upcoming election. Looking at polls, we have a few of them that are completely even. And then there's some of them that have Trump +3, but these are right-leaning research companies. So it's really hard to tell like what exactly to trust. So coming back to this map here, once again, this election is going to be extremely close. If Michigan were to go left, the Democrats would get only 270, which is the exact threshold that you need to win the election. And the Republicans would have 268, which is only 2 votes away from, you know, winning the election. And if in some universe, maybe Nebraska's district flips, then we have a tie of 269 to 269. Then it goes to the House of Representatives, which is currently Republican, and they elect the president. So yeah, I guess if it were to tie, it would be more favorable for Republicans. But the chances of it tying are extremely unlikely. But in this election, it's a little bit more likely. I don't think Nebraska's district is going to tilt, though. Yeah, we're looking at NE2 here. I mean, it is close. But these were polls done on July 8th. It says even. May 6th looks like you have Trump winning. And then, you know, May 29th, Biden winning. So it's hard to tell because of Nebraska's weird districting thing. Anyway, so if the election were to happen right now, I just don't think Michigan goes to the left. I think it goes right. But if we wait a couple more weeks, I think Michigan flips. And I think this is what our map could look like on November, whenever election day is. November 5th. I'm going to leave it like this. Once again, very hesitant about putting Michigan on the left. I'm also kind of wary of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. All the other states, I'm pretty confident this is how it'll play out. But remember, we need to watch the Rust Belt on election night to see exactly what happens here. If even one of these states goes right, then it's more than likely the Republicans win this presidential election. But if the Democrats are able to keep all of them on the left, then it's likely we see a Democratic victory, even if they do lose Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. So if I'm the Democrats, I'm heavily campaigning in the Rust Belt states. Joe Biden was able to do that pretty successfully in 2020, reaching to the blue-collar workers. That worked extremely well for them. They were able to flip all 3 of these states, and they were also able to flip Georgia and Arizona, so that was kind of surprising. But this election is a little bit different. You know, the past 4 years haven't been great in America, but also if you look at the world, it has been equally, you know, bad, even worse for Europe, which is of course the Western countries over there. So when comparing ourselves to other countries, it really hasn't been that bad. But people really don't care about the outside world. They only care about what's happening in America. And that's kind of unfortunate. So there's really bad price gouging within the United States right now by all the big companies. So my advice to everybody who isn't sure is to do your research, have multiple sources. Don't listen to mainstream media because mainstream media is a little bit biased. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows that. Do independent research companies. Look into what all the, like if you want to look into the acts by Congress, look into what they tried to do. Like, for example, the immigration crisis right now, there was a proposed plan to fix that. You know, there was legislation that was pushed, but it was shot down by the Republican Party and nothing ever came of it. So if you want to blame immigration on the left, go ahead, but the facts say that it really wasn't their fault. Now, if you want to go ahead and blame the left for not making it more bipartisan, go ahead, but I think that it was a pretty bipartisan deal, if I remember. I might be wrong on that, so do correct me if I am wrong. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Make sure to vote if you can in this upcoming election, and I will see you guys in the next video. And of course, thank you to all our super fans. This includes Arentine, Georgie Badev, Sermonator, German Edits, HammerToad45, Connor the Gamer, Poland Country Ball, Nevada Garbage Trucks, and DW Cool Dude. Once again, thank you guys.